You're listening to a portion of our conversation from episode 292, featuring the Jurassic Wire with myself, Brad Jost, and co-host Aaron Beyer. If you want to hear the full conversation, download the episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Today we discuss a few what-if scenarios for the Jurassic franchise, and of course we dive into a little Jurassic World Dominion conversation. Be sure to let us know what you think, and of course, we hope you enjoy it. I don't know what to say about this, but I thought maybe you would. We have What If Jurassic. So I thought, and I think I might have talked about this on a live stream once, but I thought this would be a fun topic to talk about and to approach, because there's so many times where we talk about, oh man, wouldn't it have been cool if they did this or if this had happened. And actually, we're kind of getting this in a way with Jurassic World Evolution 2 is producing this, this mode called Chaos Theory mode, where so it's literally branded as what if something happened? Like, what if San Diego came to fruition? And we saw the most recent developer diary, which showcased like, hey, you're going to be building San Diego as if it's a flourishing theme park. And so that's like, that is something that, before I even knew about a what if comic line or anything like that from Marvel or whatever, I've always wondered what would it be like if San Diego actually thrived. And it was like, I don't know at what point would this work. Would this be like, hey, this is before Jurassic Park, they actually just got this to work? Or is this like Ludlow came to like he got his wish and everything worked out and like it's an amazing park? I don't care which scenario.
I'll bring the all right. So I'll say this about San Diego, and I feel like I was told he's gonna make a video telling me how and why I'm right and wrong. But the entire time I was watching, hey Jack, yeah. The entire time I was watching Dominion, I was like, "This is so cool." They were gonna create the dinosaurs in this.
Wait, you were watching Dominion?
No, I'm sorry.
Guys, you heard it here first.
No, not watching Dominion. I was watching Fallen Kingdom. And I was like, this is so cool. They were making the dinosaurs in this mansion lab, and then they were going to ship them to San Diego. This makes all the sense in the world. What a cool piece of connective tissue. And then Jackie was like, no, that's stupid. And that's not canon. I'm like, but why? It makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This was all part of John Hammond's dream or whatever, he says. So it always goes back to his dream, I guess, to have these dinosaurs flourishing. So I feel like San Diego doesn't necessarily like live up to that dream or that promise of.
But John, no, but that isn't that the whole point of San Diego, is that John Hammond's dream was so incredibly vast that
it encompasses anything that you want.
Well, wasn't the whole thing was like, now I forget the lines, but it was like, John Hammond's dream was so big it was not meant to be or whatever like that. But like, wasn't San Diego? Was San Diego the first attempt, or was it? It was the first attempt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense to me that like they were making those dinosaurs in that lab with the intentions of those being the dinosaurs that wound up in the San Diego facility, right? And
it's just like a little, let's drive them right down there. It's not too far away,
And then his dream was so incredibly grand that they upped and they leased an island and moved cloning operations to Isla Nublar. Let's say Nublar. Let's not bring in the Lost World into this, but like that, to me, like that's the story. And I've been kind of told that that's not really the case. And the answers I've been given, I don't find satisfactory. So I don't really, either way, I guess I don't really care. But
yeah, I mean, to me, that seems like that would have been the case.
No, it's not. I mean, and I only say this because Jack's the guy that like confirms
because
things.
This was like where they were testing, I guess, right? Is in Lockwood's mansion or whatever.
They were testing there, but like
this is where they were beginning their stages of their work, and then like where did Sorna come into the mix here? Like what as the factory floor? I don't think like in my mind Sorna didn't exist yet. I don't know if that's the, I mean the truth, but in my mind, like San Diego, they say they wanted to make that work, but then they're like, well, that doesn't work, so let's open it up to this island idea, right? And then we have all these islands. We have 6 islands, right? So I don't know.
But and this is what I like about the book explaining Sorna, right? It's like I like this concept, and this is kind of why like I think Maisie is a super dark concept as well. It's that Nublar was the showroom. He says this in the movies. Nublar was the showroom. Now that doesn't mean that you can't make a dinosaur there. It doesn't mean you can't hatch an egg there, right? It doesn't mean you can't. But visitors don't want to see the dozen failed attempts at a dinosaur. And that's what Nublar was in the books. It was the factory because they knew that to get one dinosaur was going to take 10 attempts, right, to get one viable hatchling. So Sorna was kind of this like the dark side of like where that was where all the death was. That's where like the mutations came out of. That's where the failed dinosaurs, were the successful ones were coming out of there too. This is why I'm excited for.
Yes.
This is why I'm excited for that scene that we broke down months and months ago that had like a little tie, like it had like a crate that was marked Site D or something or new or whatever. Like I'm excited to see, even if it's just vague, I'm excited to see that connective tissue that these two facilities were working in tandem with one another, that they could get embryos created on Nublar just like they can get them created on Sorna, but they could like ship the embryos over to Sorna to like raise them up to full size or whatever.
So, let me ask you this. So when we see in Jurassic Park, this is the day that these people are coming to sign off on the park. We got to put on our best show, our best presence here. Does Dr. Wu work there, or does he work on Sorna? Where does he spend his time?
I think he works on Nublar.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's the idea that I always got, right? Like there's never in your mind when you're watching that movie, there's never an idea that anybody belonged anywhere else other than right here. This is where everything happened. So by the time the second movie comes around, then you're like, okay, well, I guess that's the factory floor. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe like this is where the science happens on Nublar, and then they send the product over to Sorna to be created. Like they do the testing on Nublar, but then everything is made over there.
Yeah,
so
why
the
not?
Science isn't happening over on Sorna, just the production is happening.
I mean, look, you have a science lab. Real science is happening there. It's not like they say it's a showcase, but it's not fake. Just like when you go to a taping of like a Tonight Show or something, it's not fake, it's real, it's there. It's just that you're experiencing it from like a different like level, right? I think that like real science happened on Nublar, and I think that some real science probably happened on Sorna.
Well, yeah, Jurassic Park 3 gives us that too, because then you look at that research lab or whatever that they're in, and it's like it looks like, hey, science is definitely happening here.
Right.
I would assume. But
I mean, I would imagine that, again, this goes back to my theory that like where Nedry was talking to Dodson was a major hub for workers of both islands to be, right? Like this Costa Rican little village. Like you would imagine that anybody who worked on those islands crossed through that village, which is why it's fun in retrospect to look at like the "don't use my name" kind of thing, right? Because he's probably a well-known person in this area. Like there's no reason to believe that Wu wouldn't be walking through that area as he transfers over to, right? As he transfers over to Sorna or something, like as a midway point. I don't know those episodes, but like it just I think that Wu was probably based on Nublar, and if he wasn't based on Nublar, was expected to be there that day to if there was any questions about the science, right, from the people.
Yeah.
Was expected to be there that day. I think in my mind, Hammond doesn't go to Sorna like ever. Hammond doesn't want to come face to face with the dirty secret that he's got going on over there. He knows it's happening, but he doesn't want to get his hands involved. I think a guy like Muldoon, while he's the head guy at Jurassic Park, I think he is also the head guy of the crew.
Oh, for sure.
On Sorna. Yeah. Like, I think he is the head.
He makes his way back and forth. Yeah.
Right. And this is what, like, I love. God, man, when Kenner had the Lost World toys too, Muldoon was the guy who called the dino trackers on Sorna. Oh, yeah. And he brought them over to. Like, you want to talk about what if? The Kenner line is the ultimate what if. What if?
Yes.
What if the people thought? What if Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler came to Jurassic Park and all went to hell, and they said, "But you know what? We see the potential. We'll help you get these dinosaurs back in their cages.
Yeah.
So give me a net launcher and a rocket launcher." The dino trackers are a very cool what if. You know, it's like, to me, like in my mind as a kid, that was always Muldoon's team on Nublar, but then when Sorna was like entered the canon, it was like, no, they were the team that, because the dinosaurs were let loose on Sorna until they aged, right? In my mind, the dino trackers were the guys that went and got the animals for shipment over to Nublar.
I like that.
So T-Rex Turner and Harpoon Harrison Jackson and Jaws Jackson, like those guys were working on Sorna. Like, once the Lost World came out, like, you couldn't have convinced me otherwise, you know?
Now, look, I mean, that's just, they're like a wealth of stories you could tell on Sorna. Like, there's never ending stories, but like,
yet they refuse.
Yeah. So, you know, I think you could have the what if scenario though, like, because we haven't even talked about that at all yet. I just mentioned what if San Diego existed.
Right. Yeah.
But like, that's a fun idea to me, the San Diego thing. Like, what if that thrived? I don't know, you know, probably just end the same way everything else ends. But I do like the idea, which we will get to play out that scenario to see how that functions and see what that would be like. So that's really exciting to find out. Obviously there's obvious scenarios like, hey, what if let's say, what if Dennis Nedry succeeded? You know, what scenario are we looking at there? Because do you think the park, so if he excuse me, if he succeeds, nobody knows the difference, right?
If he succeeds getting the embryos to Dodson, you have one park that collapses, which is Jurassic Park, and then you have Biosyn's park that repeats. Jurassic Park fails, and Jurassic Park fails quietly, and Biosyn's park is the one that fails in the public eye. That's got to be the.
I guess.
I mean, it doesn't even have to fail, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, I see. I like the idea, which we've talked about, as like a plausible, like, introduction to Dominion, where like he actually doesn't fail, or, you know, Nedry fails, but like in our minds, Wu is the one to pull through. Mm-hmm. Actually gets the DNA to Biosyn. So, you know, even if Nedry succeeds in the movie universe, and like he gets in the DNA to the guy at the boat, and then he goes back to work just typing away, and nobody ever knows the difference, you know, that park just continues on. Everything goes smoothly, I guess. I would assume. I don't know how much did the storm play into the downfall of the park.
Well, that's the thing. It's that's the whole chaos of the movie. It's they were ready for one thing to happen. They were prepared for one thing to happen. And it could have been any one of those things. They were probably prepared for it. It was the chaos of the fact that it all culminated. It was, They were prepared to not have all their staff. They were prepared for storms. They were prepared for maybe some like they had contingencies, but it was like when all of it came together
all at the same time, yeah.
All at the same weekend, they were stretched so incredibly thin that like the mistakes got through the cracks. And like then you go back and you realize that the animals are breeding in the park. So they, that was a kind of this added thing. But I feel like in the movie, it's really only added so that you can make a sequel. I didn't think it like in the book, it's this big moment. But in the movie, it's kind of just like because the big moment happens before the dinosaurs get out. In the book. In the movie, the dinosaurs are out, and then you realize, oh, they're breeding. Well, it's like, well, what difference does it make? The dinosaurs are already out. Who cares? You know? But in the book, it's like they're in the pen and they're watching those numbers come in, and it's like, like they're already out. They've been out this whole time.
They've been on mainland. They've been all over the place. They're all like that's not really an issue in the movie.
No.
But like I would assume in my mind that like Nedry gets the stuff and then goes back to work. The tour program debugs whatever it needs to do. The headlights are on, and they don't stop. Like they don't stop operating. I don't think that. I mean, would the storm have knocked the power out anyway? I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it would have just continued operating, right?
Does the storm? What effect does the storm really play into it?
I don't think anything really. I think it just is a nuisance. Like,
is it just another thing to like? Is it just something that distracts Arnold, like Ray and Muldoon? Like they're worried about the storm, so they're not really paying attention to Nedry that weekend. Is that like?
I guess the storm is really just a catalyst for them to be at the T-Rex paddock again, right? That's it. Like that's the only reason that the storm is there, to get them to turn the show around and get back to the.
Is it just for mood? Is it like just a moody?
Because they would have continued going. They would have continued their path, made the rest of the circuit, I guess, whatever the confusing layout of that track would have been.
Wait. So when they say get back in the cars, we have to go back. Are they driving backwards?
I have no idea. This makes no sense to me.
Wait, hold on.
Still doesn't make any sense to me. In my mind, there needs to be a turnaround at some point, which I don't understand.
But it's only one track.
Track switches? Does there track switches? Like, I don't understand how they did it, because they're on a track. They're literally like on a thing in the road. So I don't know at what point did they turn around and go the opposite direction past the T-Rex paddock again. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But it's there. It happened. Sure. So at some point, there's a turnaround that they Harding's like, hey, just go up there and hit the track switch, and then you'll turn around. So they turned around. So that's the catalyst. The storm is the catalyst for them turning back or getting, going back early.
So at this point, they are they're not halfway through the tour by the time they get to the Triceratops.
I guess not. Yeah.
Because then why would you?
They saw 3 things at that point, which they ended up only seeing 1 thing.
Right, but there's three things based on like I think 14 or 15 species. Which one of the species would have been a raptor paddock they would have driven by that was destroyed.
But there was no raptors. Well, I mean,
the raptor in the beginning of the movie is coming from a destroyed raptor paddock. Yeah.
Well,
so they were going to drive them past a raptor paddock that like the animals had escaped out of.
But so this what if scenario, we have to remember that there's also raptors. There are raptors breeding on the island. So there are babies out there.
That's not even a what if. That's happening. That's happened in the movie.
Well, no, but in our scenario with things going to plan, like we have to calculate that into the system here, because it's not like nothing goes wrong. Right on this park, like everything works to plan.
So for me,
something is still going wrong at some point.
For me, that's the biggest thing. It's like that's where I would have loved to have seen Jurassic World go, was to be an ultimate what if. And the ultimate what if is, what if people die, but it doesn't really matter in the context of telling different stories? Like, because one of my favorite things about old Jurassic stuff is booting up Operation Genesis, and you're getting like, you got the visitors walking around. It's like, oh, the T-Rex is like in the Parasaurolophus thing, and the raptors are running around, like, go get them. And, you got the helicopter hovering over and all this stuff. like, to me, that's like this ultimate what if of like, yeah, this park has problems. It's not perfect, but people still come here anyway. You know, you were talking in your live stream about, oh, I'm so excited to not see jungle. And I'm like, I'm not. I didn't get enough of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World to really satiate my curiosity of what else is going on and like what other cool architecture there is. And like, I don't know. I would like to have seen
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I would like to have seen this franchise be more of a serial than like than an epic, which is what it's become.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about the fact that like, hey, you could have broken down the World trilogy in a much slower pace. You know, we could have gotten to escape dinos by the end of the trilogy or something like that, instead of just, you know, Jurassic World never needed to break down. There's so many stories you could have told within one movie of an operating park, you know, like stuff like that. But, you know, going back to Jurassic Park, I mean, even if the tour continued and everything went to plan, all the people came back and they're like, hey, this looks legit. I'm going to sign off. I think Grant, you know, they would have had questions, but I think ultimately, do you think they would have signed off on the park? You know, if their tour program goes successfully, they get back. You know, Ellie never leaves you know, they say they leave the vehicle, they go see the Triceratops, but then they get back in the cars, all of them. Maybe I guess Ellie still would have stayed, right? So she would have still stayed.
So yeah, the answer is yes. They would have signed off on the park if
they still would have signed off on the park. You think?
Yeah, because up until the power outage, they are in awe of what they've seen, regardless of Muldoon and Hammond being upset that they had 2 no-shows and a sick Triceratops. A sick Triceratops was enough. Like, look how enthralled they are in that scene alone.
They are, but they also raise so many questions in the lunchroom scene and also in the lab. They're like, I don't know. This seems like, are you sure you have everything under control? Is this right? You know, what's the ethical cost of all this? You know, they talk about so much stuff there. I still think they probably would have been like, all right, yeah, I want my money. I'm going to just sign off.
You also have to kind of understand too, their sign off is not to open the park. The park is opening regardless of their opinion. He's looking for people to sign off as an endorsement. And if Alan Grant, the top in his field, endorses this park, that's an advertising blip.
That's true. Yeah. The park still would have probably continued as long as the investors are on board, right? So they want to get the investors on board. So
Alan and Ellie,
I don't know, they would have just went and got like other scientists to be like, hey, well, we got this other second tier scientists to sign off on.
Alan and Ellie's opinion is just that. It's just an opinion. The park is set to open no matter what. It's just that, like, especially in that paleontology community, if you can get the top guy, Alan Grant, to be like, yeah, hey, this is legit. There's legit dinosaurs here.
Well, it's also the insurance, right? The insurance guys, they're trying to get those to sign off, right? Isn't that part of it too? There's like insurance guy, you know, tell the insurance guys to back off. You know, they say something about something like that.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Anyway, I definitely think they would have signed off on it. The insurance, the investors, whoever would have been. That's great. Let's go with it. Let's go forward. But then, yeah, I still think they have to figure out. Like, I think that internally they probably would have went through the numbers game like they did in the novel. They would have been like, well, what's happening here? What's going on? Why are there so many dinosaurs? And probably like any of these evolution games, you know, fences would have fallen and dinosaurs would have broken out. But
yeah,
it's a fun thing to look at. But I think ultimately with the infrastructure of this park and the way that John Hammond is, I think ultimately this park still would have failed no matter what.
Yeah,
that's just my idea.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I've always said, like, moats are Jurassic Park's worst enemy, because a moat solves the problem. Like, they talk about the moats. I wish they wouldn't even have talked about the moats, because, like, so if in some of the concept art for the Indominus paddock, there's a moat inside, it's like problem solved. Like, this thing can't jump a 20-foot moat. Like, awesome. Like, great.
You tell me the thing has amazing legs that could jump straight up over that moat?
I mean, yeah, moats are just like, Moats are the easiest thing to basically put Jurassic Park / world totally under control, because none of these animals are. I mean, yeah, sure, a raptor can jump, but you figure, hi, how high and far can a raptor jump? Great, build a moat that big. Maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this moat in this image is pretty great. Let me bring this up.
Oh, this is a great image. I love this, and it's so obvious why it was taken out of the final movie.
Yeah,
you don't have a problem if you have this moat.
Here it is.
And the concrete moats and the electric. Yeah, like this, not a problem.
Yep, he's staying in there for sure.
Yeah.
That moat is just like massive.
And as a viewer, you're probably not even going to notice the moat.
Are those like electric spikes, or like what are those spikes? Are those harpoons? Like what are those? Like
no, they're just opposing spikes that like would make an animal not want to risk it.
I mean, like they're so sparse though. Like it's like just jump next to it, like and grab on. Which I still think. Look at the claws, like these Therizinosaurus like style claws on this Indominus. Like this might still have been able to jump over that. I don't know, and claw onto something, but why not? It makes all these movies just like, implausible. Like it would have gotten out.
A Stegosaurus is going to be in its pen if you have this moat, right? So forever. You have stopped any larger herbivores. Any of the more nimble like theropods, like raptors. Okay, a raptor could probably jump that, but then you just make the moat really big, and you load it with spikes at the bottom.
You put those goggle things that like you just look at a amazing view. You're looking out at the view.
Yeah,
those things in there. That's all.
Yeah, and why not though? Why not? Like that's a cool concept, right? These animals are so dangerous that we can only view them from 100 yards away. Like, yeah, that's still cool. Is it cool? I don't know.
I don't know. It's not like I don't know. I mean, we all have gone to a zoo and you see like something through a cage or something through over a moat or something like that, like a gorilla or something like over there. But yeah, I don't know. I think all the issues probably would have been solved if there were moats. So what if
there were moats? What if there were moats?
And there would be no movies, because then it would just be a real place to exist. But yeah, I think some of these movies don't necessarily have like like Jurassic Park 3. Like there's not really like a cool what if scenario outside of like, I don't know, like just like minor details in the film. Like I can't even think of anything. What if Ben Hildebrand survived? Who cares? Like it's not like anything like all that.
I mean, look, what if Eric Kirby was dead? Alan Grant dies for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
yeah.
Look, what if,
that would have been so like it did. If they showed up to that island, we need to find our kid, and then he's dead. Oh my god, that is
great.
No, I mean, like, yeah,
it would have been bad. It would have been bad.
The Kirbys are not the greatest characters in the universe, but man, they didn't deserve that. That's messed up.
But the Kirbys. Characters that do not need to be in Jurassic World Dominion. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, I really want to see them in Dominion. Come
Why?
on.
What purpose could they possibly serve? They're literally bystanders.
Like, I don't know. I want them to kind of have like one of those like Jumanji moments where like, like they're just doing something normal in like at their house, and then like a Triceratops just goes through their living room or something. Something stupid like that. But no, I just want them to be like eating popcorn on the couch or something, and then being like, oh my god, look, there's dinosaurs. And then that's it.
The only thing that I could see of any value with the Kirbys is the Tim Sales intro with they're at the baseball game and the pterodactyls attack. Like that's the only thing of any value I can see.
John Sales, yeah.
John Sales, yeah. Sorry, Tim Sales, an artist.
So in this scenario, like Eric maybe has a kid that's playing t-ball now, and he's got a son or a daughter who's out there playing t-ball, and like the grandparents are there, they're there watching the game.
And these pteranodons think that like they're like, oh, I have to go to this one spot where there's a bunch of humans in
Oklahoma. We got to go out there. I see. My like introduction for Dominion has changed and shifted over time. Like initially, I really, really wanted that sales intro to be part of Dominion. You know,
yeah, but you know what sucks is we know
would
what the intro to Dominion is. That's what really
we
we
don't
do.
necessarily. I don't think we necessarily know.
Yeah, based off of what leaked or whatever was shown, we know the intro. They've talked about this.
The preview. Look here. Yeah, there a while back there was a second unit guy or something posted a bunch of pictures on Facebook, and it turned out to be the stuff that was shot for the preview. So
the stuff in the past or the stuff in current day?
The stuff in the past. So all that stuff in the past, which could be the intro, but I don't necessarily think we've talked about this. Colin said that we're not totally sure if all of this is making it into the movie or not. And we've broken down like, well, if you're going to include anything, it's going to be the stuff that's set today, not the stuff from the past.
Right. And the stuff that was set today, we've seen. And we know what that is.
But I don't necessarily think that's intro material exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it could work as intro material, but I don't think it. I think there's better intros that you could have, but who knows? We gotta wait to see it. But I think any of these ideas sound like more fun ideas for an intro because we've seen that intro.
After the way Fallen Kingdom opens, I really can't ask. I could never ask for Trevorrow to outdo that.
But that's why I think like that's not the intro because like you're asking him to just do another T-Rex scene in the intro. I'm like, do something different. Do the Quetzalcoatlus like attacking this like baseball field or something like that, or our whole like flashback intro.
Do the flashback of someone picking up the can and do the intro with a full size Dilophosaurus attack.
Well, yes. I mean, we know this. We know this already. I actually. So the other day. Wait,
is there a full size Dilophosaurus? Is this confirmed?
Oh no. I'm just saying we know our intro already.
Oh yeah.
The other day I was actually like I was thinking about it because I was going through a bunch of my notes on my note system here, and I was like, I came across this note that I wrote down for Jurassic World 2. And this was I don't even know if there's like a date on this or anything.
Is this your volcano? Is this your volcano thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so exactly. So I basically I was like going through old concept art of Jurassic World, and there's this incredible concept art which can I bring this up somehow in like a browser? No. Let me see if I can open just up in a new tab. Okay, here it is. Oh man, never mind. I don't know if I can bring it up. But anyway, it's very, very cool concept art of a T-Rex, and it's breaking through this rope bridge.
Yeah,
it looks like Indiana Jones is like hanging off of it. It looks like, and it's kind of got like that vibe of like the worker village where like those bones are like scattered around. You know how like there's like that Apatosaurus or whatever, a Brachiosaurus bone structure there that they all walk through. There you see the bones, and in the background there's this big volcano that's exploding. And then you look at other concept art, and it looks like this T-Rex kingdom that they made actually just had like a miniature volcano in it. So I think that's what this is portraying, is like this mini volcano in like this T-Rex kingdom. And there's also raptors in this paddock as well, and they're all facing off against each other. It's really, really awesome image.
Now, I've told,
as you look at it, actually,
I've told you what my ultimate raptor experience is, right?
Tell it. Let's see.
I mean, I'll say it. Yeah, if I've said it on here once, you'll forgive me. The ultimate raptor experience is an above ground shark tank experience where you're walking through a jungle in a glass tube.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's either at ground level or it elevates, and you've got raptors hunting you like on all sides, and like you're walking through, and like, I mean, do like because they're from like Asia, you could, if you really want to get cheesy amusement parky, you could put like Asian ruins like in this thing, but like at the end of the day, the perfect raptor experience is you in a half glass tube walking through a raptor attack, basically. Like that is
amazing. Like I would absolutely
isn't it amazing?
like to do that. Like I don't know, I would have said I would like to do that, but like where would I do that? But like I would like to.
You would like to do it at Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it was a real thing. I can't even like Google these concept art images. I can't even find it anymore.
Really? I know exactly what image you're talking about.
Here's something. I don't know what this is. Let's open this up in a new tab, but this is not the one that I was actually, I mean, it's like fairly like close to what I was mentioning. But this is not T-Rex. It looks like a Giganotosaurus actually. And there is a T-Rex in the background. Oh, so I guess it's supposed to be the Indominus. Oh man, dude, you imagine if this battle, I guess that's what this is trying to show, is that the battle didn't happen on Main Street per se, but it happened inside the T-Rex arena, dude. How incredible is that? Like it literally would have happened right there, and you see the raptors attacking. You've got this volcano in the background.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this volcano was the thing that sparked my idea when I was looking through, and this is not the image again, but so basically I was like going through. I wrote like a whole outline about how Claire. I wrote that she's potentially pays the price, but she's about to go to court and learns from the government that they're sending in fighter jets to blow up the island, but she's doing everything she can to stop them. She ends up stopping them, but the volcano is the bigger issue. Nublar's ecosystem is in collapse because a volcano is about to blow. Activists still look to save some animals. Some say let them die. Grant, Malcolm, Ellie are spokespeople for, some people let them live or some people let them die. InGen sent teams to gather the dinosaurs, take them to Site B, and they herd up what they can. Owen wants to help lead the team to find Blue, which is not exactly how that went down, because he's like, I don't really want to go, but eventually he did go to track down Blue. They go to the island with InGen, but they don't trust them. And I said the last thing I ended up writing was they enlist Barry for his own team, but that never happened. But it will happen in Dominion. So that was my outline for Jurassic World 2. Fairly close for a lot of that. Just swap some things here and there. So I was looking through this note and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I gotta write this down again. So I wrote down like our what if scenario, I guess, for the intro to this again. And just to recap, we're sitting at a Costa Rican cafe. We're in 1993 here. We see Nedry having his meeting with Dodgson from a new perspective. And we notice that another employee is sitting nearby, and it's Dr. Wu. He hears the plan. He hears everything that's going on with those two. Nedry leaves, but Wu intercepts Dodgson before he leaves, right? So Wu knows that Nedry will end up failing. He's like, this guy's a klutz. He's not gonna come through for you. So I need to be the backup plan for this. We skip to the jungle, nighttime, the storm, and all that stuff is happening. Nedry fails. He loses the Barbasol can. And then Wu follows up on that, sees Nedry's Jeep and the body, knows that the Barbasol can must be nearby because he can't find it anywhere in the Jeep. He ends up finding it, right? And that's when he spots the baby Dilophosaurus. And he's like, okay, I got to get out of here. But then he's followed up by the big Dilophosaurus, right? That's where it's like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. He narrowly escapes, close call, but he does get out of there because the big Dilophosaur, I don't know, he escaped. I have no idea.
Now, here's the thing though. No, but here's the thing. We have to change this a little bit. Wu has to go with a team.
You think Wu's going with a team? Why?
He's got to go with at least 2 more people. Because why would you want to have a Dilophosaurus attack if this thing doesn't kill some people? So, in every Jurassic intro, except for the Jurassic World,
I mean,
people die.
It would be great, yeah.
I guess the little girl doesn't die, but for all intents and purposes, she dies off screen. Like, I know she doesn't, but
she does. But like,
we don't really. Aside from a throwaway line, oh, the little girl is fine. Yeah. In all intents and purposes, that girl died. All right. Like,
I mean, sure, but like, I would be fine. Yeah, sure. Add some team members. Okay, that's fine. But I like the idea of somebody getting it. But like him, he has to escape, and that's where like he gets to the dock in time, or somehow gets the stuff off the island, and that's when we cut to like a lab where Wu and Dodgson are working together, DNA sequencing, whatever. But this is where how like our what if scenario comes in, uh, in other ways for Jurassic Park, because they end up failing. They don't actually produce the dinosaurs that they wanted to produce. So Dodgson loses for now. It's like a for now situation where like, you got this round, I'm gonna get the next one. And that's when we swap to like current day, and you see that that Biosyn is like this big leader in all this stuff, and they're using science to better the world, or so it seems. And I think that would be a great way to kick off the story. I added in here as like a nice little tag because I want to see this come to fruition.
sure.
You see like Dodgson in a vehicle, and he's talking with a few people about like what they're doing at Biosyn and stuff like that. And then at some point, Dodgson's like, so what do you do, sir? And the guy's like, I'm a dentist. And then that's when like a guy walks up next to the cars. Like, here's your rifles, gentlemen. And they hand them the rifles, and they're actually at like a reserve to shoot dinosaurs and kill dinosaurs. And
Yeah.
a rich dentist, ends up shooting a triceratops dead, and it leaves it like looking very much like a sick triceratops pose. Like I think that would be kind of brutal, and actually a nice callback to the people who originally thought that Steven Spielberg was like a trophy hunter. You remember that timeline?
Yeah.
Where like, so this whole
takes
time.
me-
We have not been on camera, my bad. But I was like very enthusiastic about what I was saying.
This takes me back to some of the scenarios we used to play as kids with the action figures. This is another like what if. It's like what if Sorna what if like it's like what would happen if Sorna was still like a thing, and it was like this concept of like it would become a big game like Hunter's Park. And we used to use like the trailer because I had the big trailer toy, and that was like, and we used to also use this scenario if the dinosaur hunters who were gathering for Nublar, like they would go out in the trailer, because like hunting a dinosaur or finding a dinosaur, you didn't just do it in 15-20 minutes. You would like sometimes it would take like days to track the species that Nublar wanted, or days to track the species that the hunter wanted. And like, so you would go out in the trailer, and like the trailer was like their sanctuary, because the island was so big that like they couldn't get back to base like in just an hour or two. And again, we're kids, playing these scenarios. But yeah, like the trailer was always like this, like we would play these scenarios where like the trailer itself was an attraction, like a ride of some sort, right? Like, but like more like do you remember when we were kids, like SeaWorld would do like the stay the night with Shamu thing or whatever, and it was just like parents could like do parties like in the underground tank or whatever, and watch the whale like at night or whatever.
Yeah,
super creepy, by the way. But like I just think about those tanks and just them emitting this blue glow into the where the kids are sleeping. But yeah, like I don't know. Those are some like what if scenarios that we used to play as kids. I'm trying to think like Jurassic Park 3. It's like, yeah, what if? I mean, the Spinosaurus doesn't die.
Oh! I think I made this joke. I'll repeat it here because I thought it was fun. I said, "What if Jurassic Park 3 had an ending?" Basically, like I made the joke with the what if thing before. I was like, what if these episodes had endings? But what if Jurassic Park 3 had an ending? Like,
yeah,
what
the
would
movie
that
does not have an ending. That movie just abruptly ends.
That would be amazing. I know there's talk about different endings and scenarios and stuff like that, but like I like this idea of like the raptors and the Spino facing off, and like that would be cool. Imagine like a pack of raptors. They failed in the first movie. The three raptors or whatever failed to take down the T-Rex. Imagine it like a scenario where this pack of like the males and the females all taking down this Spinosaurus. I'm the biggest supporter of the Spinosaurus. I don't want to see that ever, but I think that still would have been an amazing shot to see like a battle between these creatures and just like it would just be so brutal.
Based on what we know about what's from the intro, right, of like the Giganotosaurus killing the T-Rex, right, in the beginning, it's like okay, that's Trevorrow directly reacting to the Spinosaurus killing the T-Rex, right? Because you know that this movie ends with the T-Rex getting its revenge through. It's not even like it's not even the same T-Rex and the same Giganotosaurus fighting it out, but it's just like in our minds as the audience, we're like, yeah, the T-Rex got him. He's beating that by like giving the T-Rex, I'm sure, and speculation like, is it like the T-Rex wins but like dies by doing so? I know that's something you want. I personally don't want that. I don't want the T-Rex to die in this movie. I don't think these movies are at their best when they're sentimental. I did not have the same reaction to the Brachiosaur that everyone else had. I thought it was quite dumb. The Brachiosaur dying in the fire. I was like, couple that with the fact that like not Trevorrow, the director, Bayona was like, that's the Brachiosaur from the first movie. Like, okay, sure, it is.
That's some Twitter stuff. No, forget about that.
Right.
Or article.
Like, that did not have the effect on me that it was supposed to have. That 99.9% of audience members had when they saw that sequence. Like, I was just like, but you could go back, just get him. He's there at the dock. Just back up, let him walk on. So yeah, I don't know. I just
yeah, I don't know. I think that would be I don't know how you like you're saying, like the T-Rex obviously has to win in that scenario. You don't set up a death in the beginning and then have it lose again like that.
Right.
That doesn't seem right. But like I'm saying, hey, maybe they cut that intro, that past stuff, so we don't necessarily see it die. Does it matter if it dies later on? Like, it could die, I guess, but like I still don't think that's the ending.
You think that? But I think, dude, there is no way after Jurassic Park 3 that Colin Trevorrow blatantly kills the T-Rex, not a T-Rex.
No, I know. I see. That's what I've always said is like, hey, JP3 never mattered. Like that T-Rex never mattered to me because it wasn't the one that I know. Like I just didn't care. But okay, to do it
on your first viewing of Jurassic Park 3, which T-Rex do you know? There's four.
Yeah.
Why do you have an attachment to the one from the first movie as opposed to the two in the second movie?
Well, I do. I have an attachment to the Bolt T-Rex because like that's it's the toys, man. It's the toys. It's the Red Rex to me is
the bull right there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, right here. Where's that?
Right there.
I mean, these two toys right here, literally behind me. That's why they matter, is because that to me, yes, it's not exactly the Rex from the first movie, but
that is the Jurassic Park T-Rex.
Rex. And then this bull mattered to me because that's the toy I had. So those two, if I saw those two get it, yeah, I'd be bummed. But like it was just like, run of the mill green T-Rex. So but I like him kind of trolling everybody in that way. Like, hey, you thought the T-Rex is gonna win? Nope. It just it dies. But if you're gonna have another battle, I don't want the T-Rex just limping away kind of again like it did in Jurassic World. I think there needs to be a different outcome. But I don't know, how did we get here? I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
What if the T-Rex dies? How does this?
We were talking about Jurassic Park 3 and like an ending for that. But yeah. I think that would have been cool if it did end up showing like a death of the Spinosaur, having it dragged down by like 13 different velociraptors would have been really cool to see, something like that. Or like a Pteranodon sequence. I know there's been talk of that as well, or whatever. I don't
know. Jurassic Park 3 it's It's a special movie, that's for sure. I mean, I think the ultimate what if scenarios is like the Topps comics. They're very bad, so like I don't remember them off the top of my head, but like you flip through those, and there's a lot of things that like were that Jurassic World kind of utilized. Like I do remember in those comics there is a raptor training facility that looks very much like the one in Jurassic World, and this is 20 some years prior someone wrote this story. Yeah, mine are actually, I think they're packed away, so I don't have mine to show. But
I mean, there's a lot of different like crazy stuff. It doesn't like Muldoon or somebody survive, or Ludlow.
Yeah, Muldoon survives. Well, okay, Muldoon survives in the Topps comics. Ludlow is survived in the IDW comics. He's like he's got like a mangled face. But I'm specifically talking about these Topps comics. There's like the Jurassic Park Adventures, which is kind of like, it's all what if, right? Like it's kind of in line with the Kenner stuff. It's like, what if we just insisted that this park had to be a thing, Yeah. But
yes, some of like this cover here is just like somebody pointing and then two raptors and a random hand that's just flying up in the air.
Wait, what?
And then a gorilla.
I think this is the one. Well, because the raptor training facility is in like it's in like Africa where gorillas are at. It's like,
go get that gorilla. Like I don't know. This is like hilarious to me. I just
cover, man. It's so good.
I said, what is that arm doing though in the back? Whose arm is that?
But look at this.
Is it this person's arm? I don't.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
There's just some really cool like artwork that comes out of this. The internal artwork is not fantastic. It's much better than the IDW stuff. Look at that one with the raptors attacking that helicopter. It's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that would have been awesome to see something like this in a film, like in JP3 or something. That could have been a really cool scenario. I know there's like Lost World stuff. Oh, actually, it was on Stuck on Sorna. I think they had done some sort of concept art or something like that where they were driving motorcycles away and I think they jumped off, but a raptor attacked at the right time where it ended up riding the motorcycle like off the cliff or something like that. It's like a crazy scenario, like something wild that you would never expect to see.
Spielberg, man, he wanted that motorcycle sequence. He has wanted that motorcycle sequence since, I would imagine, since the second movie, because he tried squeezing it in, into the Lost World. It made a cool image, but like, wasn't it like one of Trevorrow's like mandates? It was like, you have to have a motorcycle sequence. Like, I remember Trevorrow saying something that was like, yeah, the mandates were like, I had to have training raptors and I had to have a motorcycle sequence, and like anything else was like up for grabs.
Yeah, this is something I don't know that I've ever really visited too heavily.
These comics?
Yeah, I don't.
You and I should do. We should do something where we read through them.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Let's do it. Let's do that.
I gotta find mine. Are packed away. I can look and see where I put them, but they're probably in a storage facility somewhere.
All right. So, what if we moved on to the next segment? What do you think?
What if we did?
Let's move on to our